Have you ever wished you could eavesdrop on a conversation with a millionaire? My name is Michelle Thompson. I'm a retired project controls engineer and business professor, and that's exactly what I'm going to do in this podcast. I get to ask the questions that everyone else wishes they could. I'm going to find out exactly how they were able to build their empires through automation and outsourcing. And I'm going to break it down in a way that helps you build your business to run on autopilot. Don't miss out on Automate to Dominate.
From author Donnie Boivin comes the book, How to Be a Success Champion, available on Amazon. After years of living other people's dreams, author Donnie Boivin decided to jump out on his own and start a business, thinking it would be easy. Instead, he had a rude awakening and quickly understood that he had spent 20 years being an employee and had no idea how to be a business owner. His business was tanking, and he was on the brink of losing everything when he decided to fight for business freedom. In this must-read and life-changing book, author Donnie Boivin shares with readers his story intermingled with lessons learned from his mistakes and his failures. In How to Be a Success Champion, you will find advice the author received from mentors and how he went from zero to a six-figure business. The author walks you through the steps of how to get out of your own way, how to play the game of business and win, find your strengths, how to network effectively, how to build a personal brand, how to create champions for your business, how to get great at sales, how to take complete ownership of you and your business. How to Be a Success Champion from author Donnie Boivin, available on Amazon in both Kindle and paperback editions. Order your copy right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Automate to Dominate. Today's guest is Donnie Boivin. He is the owner of Success Champions. He's an award-winning professional sales trainer. He has a top 200 iTunes podcast. He's a Marine Corps veteran, and I mean, you guys better be ready for the badassery that is Donnie Boivin. So Donnie's storytelling skills kind of like light entrepreneurs on fire, which is one of the main reasons why I wanted to have him on the show. So whether he's sharing over the airways or teaching a workshop, anything, you're going to instantly realize that you're rubbing elbows with somebody who's real, who's authentic, not going to blow smoke up your ass, that he really cares about helping other people and helping them live their dreams. So, Donnie, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. And dude, I'm going to put you in my pocket, take you everywhere I go, and let you do that intro for me every freaking time. Well done, honey. Well done.
Thank you. So the funny part about this, I cracked up laughing when I saw this, and you guys are going to love this. So his slogan is be the champion of your success, but wait for the tagline. Transform your life by finding that business freedom. You are a champion. Look at the world and say, hold my beer and watch this shit.
What's funny is so I was on a stage one time and a guy looked at me. He goes, "Man, I want to start a business. I want to get in the game. I don't know if I'm brave enough. I'm doing it." I'm like, motherfucker, reach down, grab a beer, look at the world and say, hold my beer and watch this shit and fucking jump in. And everybody's just started laughing. And so I'm like, all right, I'm fucking owning that.
That's awesome. That's like, I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious, but like so fitting. So all I could think of was like Larry the Cable Guy as a motivational speaker.
Yes. I bet Larry would be a hell of a motivational. I'm damn sure more funny than I'll ever be. But I just want to hear him be a motivational speaker as Mater the entire time, do the whole tow truck thing.
Oh my gosh.
You are a badass.
That would be so funny. We'll get him and Jeff, what's his name? Jeff
Dunham.
Well, Jeff Dunham would be funny too, but I was thinking Jeff Foxworthy.
Oh yeah. It might be a redneck.
Right. Get the two of them together and
right.
We'll just, stick a case of Bud in between them and watch them go at it. Okay. So before we get started on like cool business stuff, I have to ask. So my good friend is a first sergeant in the Marines and he's actually retiring after 22 years. So we're going to his retirement party and I want to get him this like amazing gift that's going to be super meaningful, but having not lived in the Marines for 22 years, I'm not sure what to get. So help me out other than, Peyton Manning showing up because that's his like you know.
Legend, right? So a couple of cool things if he doesn't have. Probably the coolest thing that guys that have spent that much time in, the shadow box with all their shit. So
Yeah, his wife's doing that, and
of course she is. She better
there was
be.
no way I was taking that from him. So
Yeah, she better be. You know, it's not so much about the Marine Corps memorabilia. It's really more about something that he's totally into, is that he can tell stories about, later. So think about where he's been stationed, where are some of his coolest freaking memories. When my brother, retired from the Marine Corps, I literally had to call in a few favors and get a couple of bottles of Habu sake sent over from Okinawa. Okay. And
uh-huh.
Habu sake is the craziest sake in the world. Habu snake, I guess, is like the most poisonous snake on the island of Okinawa. They
Okay.
literally take this snake and flash freeze it in a coil striking position. And that's in the bottom of the bottle of sake.
Oh my God, and people drink this?
Oh yeah, dude, it's insane. It's got like this reptilian flavor to the sake. When you're
This
sober, you can taste it. When you're not sober, you're not tasting it. I mean, all you taste is the reptile side of things when you're not sober. But it's in a pretty expensive bottle, and you can only get it on the island. So I called a couple of Marine Corps buddies up and said, "Hey, I need you to get me some of these," and that's what I gave him as his retirement gift. So it's like I said, it's not so much. I mean, outside of like the shadow box, that's like the big thing everybody does. Go
yeah,
get him something that reminds him of some of his favorite places.
that's cool. I
Buy
think
it.
one of his favorite places was Hawaii. He was stationed in Hawaii for a couple of years, and he got really close to the chief and some of the islanders. So, like to this day, we still make pink chicken.
Nice. You know what? Then that's part of the thing to do is reach out to that chief that he's really close to, and say, "Hey, I need a gift basket. I need something that's straight from the island. You only can get on the island. Something like that would go." It's just there's a lot more behind it than versus some of the trinket or shit you can get. You can tell you really put some time into it.
That's an
We do get
awesome idea. I didn't think
some
of that.
yeah, we get
Yep.
some cool memories when we're in the military. So
Yeah.
anything that can take us back is usually a good time.
So, okay, awesome. All right. So, back to business because, people don't really want to hear about my friend in the Marines. They really want to hear about business. Ah, geez. Okay. So, how in the world did you finally crack the code and break into like that six-figure business after like almost failing? Or as you say, it was really your fear of failing that like scared the hell
Yeah.
out of you.
I fucked up a lot. I mean, if you want to know the real answer,
Yeah, I do because that makes me feel better.
yeah, I mean, well, here's the truth: you're never going to get to where you want to go without breaking shit. It comes down to is running a business. There is no safe game. There's literally no way to run a business and find success without completely breaking or be willing to lose it all. I unintentionally ran my business straight into the ground. And the problem is I'd spent 20 years as a sales guy. So I was a damn good fucking sales guy and a semi decent employee. Right. I've never been like this rock star anywhere as far as employee goes, Marine Corps, any kind of thing like that. I always was good enough. But when it came to sales, I was really, really damn good. I'm just not a rule follower. And so when I jumped out and launched my business, I tried to be the rock star sales guy. It was cool, man. I could freaking go get deals. I could bring on new clients. That was great. But when I was a sales guy and not a business owner, I would sell something and then somebody else would, do the deal. Right. So I would close it out, bring it on. And then, when I sold HVAC, another technician came in and did all the stuff. When I sold franchises, another team came in and helped with all the operations. When I sold commercial printing, another team came in and handled all the production and all that. When I did sales training, I sold it and somebody else trained. So my life was getting the things done. So when I started my business, I was like, cool, I got the things done. Oh shit, now I've got to deliver. I got to do the
Right?
operations. I got to do the accounting. I got to take out the trash. I got to do, everything. And I got caught up like most do in this transactional business, meaning I would get a deal done. I would spend so much time making sure that client got everything they need, found success. And then they wouldn't need me anymore, which is the ultimate goal for any coach, consultant, or anything, is to get them to where they don't need you anymore. And then I'd have nothing behind it because all my time was spent working on these clients. And I kept doing this and I kept doing this and I kept doing this. And the problem is I took that employee mindset straight into being a business owner. So the only thing I did is I wasn't running a company. I was creating a job for myself.
Right.
And so I literally had to look at my wife 6 months into running my business and say, babe, we're going to lose everything. At that point, we'd built our dream farm. We had our dream house. I'd built a second house on a property for my mother-in-law, to live with us. We had all of our goats and chickens. We had everything that we had dreamed about doing. And now here I was, because I thought I could be a business owner, telling her we're going to fucking lose everything. And my wife, God love her, looked right at me and said, you better get off your ass and go sell something.
Right. I'd probably say that too. I'd be like, you need to fix this.
Right.
Like yesterday.
Now, right. So I did, and I started fighting, so it took me, though, getting on the brink of losing everything to realize something had to shift. Something literally had to move. I could not be the same guy I was being a sales guy and run a business. So the biggest thing I had to figure out is, what does a CEO, what does a business owner actually think about, do? What actions do they take? And then I had to start applying that to my business. So I did a really, really funny thing. I literally took down every task in my business, every one that I did. And I put that on the left side column of a sheet. On the right side, I wrote up top, would Steve Jobs do this task?
Ooh, that's a great way to do that. I tell people to do this all the time so they can get as much off their plate that they don't have to do themselves. But that's a great way to do it.
Oh, dude, it was eye-opening, because I was doing so much stupid shit in my business that I shouldn't have been doing. And what it taught me is, and I tell everybody, podcasting saved my business. And the reason podcasting saved my business is because I was in the process of figuring out what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing. And when I launched the podcast, it was so much work to make everything function right and do all the things we did. I had to put a team together, and that which means I had to figure out the operational, I had to figure out flow, I had to figure out what I had to outsource. So all this kind of came at the same time. And I went, holy shit, if I can find the people that are experts in what they do to do the things I need to get done, then I can go do what I'm good at, which is be the face of the company and make a lot of noise and cuss a lot on stage, and that started working. But I also knew at that point, I couldn't pay a fucking soul to come work with me. I couldn't outsource and afford them. So I just got creative. I found people that were good enough at what they did, and I bartered and I traded and I freaking offered anything I could to get them to come do things for me. And it slowly started working. And then we found its legs. I found my A team and we took off. But really, truthfully, you got to flip the script. You can't do the same things you did as an employee and run a business. You've got to start having this massive vision. And I don't like Simon Sinek's why. Nothing wrong with it, but a why is selfish, and it's only for you. What I want people to do is have a vision. And what I mean by a vision is so strong that other people want to help you create it. That's when you know you got it right. And so my biggest vision is I will help all small business owners find business freedom, right? And that's all I'm working for. That everything I build, everything I do is geared towards helping small business owners find freedom. And when I tell that to people, I get so many people like, I want to help you do that. What do you need? And that's how I built my entire team out. It's how I've done everything. So that's the biggest transition, is you got to flip the script from employee to business owner and really get after it.
So when you're in the process and you realize, hey, I've got to pivot, right? Or I'm screwed. How do you get yourself to go so big that it literally scares the hell out of you?
So there was this arcade game I played as a kid back in when they had stand-up arcades, right? You went to the mall and you played the arcades. I someday should look up the name of this damn arcade game, but it was a cartoon and literally looked like a Disney cartoon on the screen. And you were a knight And the whole goal was this joystick you had, and a light would kind of flash up on the screen, and you had to slam the joystick to move. And if you got the timing right, it would go to the cinematic and this thing, and you'd ultimately slay the dragon, right? It was this whole series of this. And I love that game as a reference because to go big, you first got to go small. And what I mean is you got to start doing the things that scare you now. So I think every time a fear pops up, it's a universe 100% saying, go that fucking direction. So it can be something as simple as maybe you're at a networking event and you know there's somebody you should walk over and talk to. And if you're like, oh, I can't get off this fucking wall, fuck you, go talk to them. And it's a series of chasing those small fears that will lead you to the big shit. And there's a movie that I love that puts this in fully in perspective. And it's First Night, and it's got Sean Connery, and I always forget the guy who plays Lancelot. Okay,
Heath Ledger.
No, it's not Heath. This is before this. This is even before that. So this is older than that. So this was like Sean Connery's. He's still gray but young. And shit, I can never remember. It's like Mel Gibson or something. It's not Mel Gibson, but it's somebody like him. And so that guy's playing Lancelot, and the movie starts off, and they're in this town square. And here's Lancelot, and he's got a bag of coins in one hand and a sword in another, and he's throwing the bag of coins up, and he looks at the entire square and goes, if anybody can beat me in a sword duel, I will give you this bag of coins. Finally, this big mountain of a man, right, as they always do in the movie, steps out and goes, I'll take you. And Lancelot's, are you any good? And the big dude goes, whack, and he smacks, and he like splits a tree in half. And Lancelot goes, okay, I think you're pretty good. So they start dueling. And Lancelot does a move where he knocks the sword out of the big guy's hand and catches it in his own. And the big guy looks at him and goes, oh my God, you got to teach me that. Is that a trick? And Lancelot's like, no, that's just how I fight. The big guy's like, dude, you've got to teach me that. And Lancelot goes, I can't teach this. He goes, no, I'm willing to learn. I'll try anything. Teach me this. And Lancelot goes, fine. There's 3 things you got to do to fight like I fight. 1, you got to train harder than anybody in the world has ever trained. The big guy's like, I can do that. 2, you got to have more patience to wait till your enemy screws up before you strike. And the big dude's like, I can do that. 3, you got to not give a shit whether you live or die. And you watch this dude's face just fucking crumble when he walks away because he realized he would never be able to fight to the level of not giving a shit whether he lives and die. When you run a business, you got to not give a shit whether you live or die. It's all the fuck in. And it's about consistently going in, failing better, fucking shit up, and doing it again and again and again and again. Because the reason businesses do not succeed is because they're playing it too fucking safe.
Yeah.
Your people that have really exploded in life, business, and everything else, they're the biggest risk takers. They bet the company more often than they should. And
look at Steve Jobs.
Yes, 100%. Yep. You know, I mean, and anybody that is a self-made person, and you'll see it's a series of fuck-ups all along the way, bad decisions that they learned from, and they kept moving forward, and they never looked at it as a failure. They looked at it as, how do I fail better? How do I go into this knowing it's going to break, learn from it, and keep moving forward? Which always brings up my greatest quote of all times, which is Rocky Balboa. In the movie, Rocky Balboa, which is like 5 or 6 or some shit, I don't know how many there are anymore, he's talking to his son. And he looks at his son and goes, it is not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can take a hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. If you know what you're worth, go get what you're worth. And that's the whole thing that sums up life, is you got to go take the fucking hits. As a buddy of mine told me yesterday, he's like, dude, if shit is not in pain at least once a day, then you're probably not living a worthy life. Right? If life is comfortable, you're not going for it. So you got to flip the script, get in the game, go big, and know that you're going to get knocked the fuck down. Smile, get back up, and run, just like you overcoming this whole the stroke thing and everything else. That's what I'm talking about. Getting back in the fucking game and saying, let's do this shit.
Yeah. And I mean, I did this morning, actually. I just hired a coach, and for me, it was an astronomical number. For some people, it would have been like, oh, that's peanuts. But for me, it was like a huge number that I was like, oh shit. Like, either that's it. This is either going to work or we're going down in flames, you know?
Yep.
And but it's hard. So how would you say to somebody, like, how do you get out of your own way so that your business actually has a fighting chance?
One, believe in yourself. I think most people, yeah, business nowadays is like the new multi-level marketing. People believe that they can start a business and be a millionaire overnight, right? They truly believe that because they got a website, they've got a business
Everybody's just
card.
going to magically appear.
Yes, yes. I mean, that was part of my problem when I launched my business. I mean, I was cocky enough to believe that I'd build a website, I'd put my name out there in my local area, I was known. I didn't realize that nobody else in the world knew who the fuck I was. So it's kind of important if you want to get on a lot of stages. But, you really have got to just go and lean into those things that are just flickering thoughts. So the reason we've continued to find success in my business, so literally this weekend, as we're recording this, I was supposed to be having the first ever Badass Business Summit. I rented out Hearst Convention Center. I was flying in speakers from all over the U.S. We had sponsors, we had DJs, we had everything. Badass Business, I mean, this was huge. The most amount of money I've ever invested in anything in my company to pull this thing off. Well, you know what's going on. This whole COVID-19 thing going on. The government shut down the whole thing. So it's postponed to now till September.
Wow.
The reason I've been
That's
able to
great
get
now, though, because now I can come.
right. I love that. The reason my business has found the success it has is 100% because I did something that was bigger than I thought we could handle. I mean, I've got a small team of people, and we literally rented out a convention center. I mean, we made a huge bid, and we outlaid more cash than was probably healthy for my company. Now, some of that I'm paying for it right now because that cash is still outlaid until that convention happens, right?
Right.
But that's how you get out of your way, is by doing those things that are, I mean, it's thinking better, it's acting better, it's doing consistently the things that are going to scale and grow your business. Most people are living in this bubble of comfortness, this bubble of okayness. They're actually okay with where they are in life. They're not willing to take the hits and go bigger. And when I first decided to do this whole convention, I looked at the team. I'm like, holy shit, guys, what did I just commit to do? I mean, it scared the pure living shit out of me. And in all my team, they're all virtual, and so we're on a Zoom call, and I could see them almost getting the fear in their eye that I just said, holy shit, what did I just do? And I realized instantly they're going to react how I react. So I flipped my own script instantly and said, we got this. Let's go fucking big. What do we need to do? We built out the automations. We built out the site. We did everything we needed to do. I mean, who would have bet that a freaking virus would come wipe through the damn world and we'd be where we're at? So you can't ever prepare for everything. But for us, it's been a benefit because now we're going bigger with it. We're bringing in more speakers. We're getting more opportunity to tell people. We've launched another line in our business, so just some really cool series of things that have happened because we bet bigger than we thought we should. And we continue to bet bigger and go.
That's awesome. And it's just so inspiring because, you Well, here's a great example. So, um, yesterday I was listening to an interview with Russell Brunson, who's the owner of ClickFunnels,
Yep.
and he actually kind of outed himself in the interview because he's like, hey, he's like, the reason we're not HubSpot is because I'm not willing to take the risk. He's like, those guys put the money out there and they know that they're not going to see a return on investment for 2 years. And he's like, if I would be willing to do that, we could grow, but I'm not.
Yep.
And I just sat there and I went, holy crap, wow. Like, you're just and like, that wasn't his point, but that's what stuck in my brain was, he's not willing to, and I get it, right? He's built for him what's really, really successful and he doesn't want to lose it. But like, if you want to be the Steve Jobs and create Apple, right? It's,
Yeah, I
you
highly
can't.
encourage everybody to go read Elon Musk's book, and I forget what it's called. But there's a section in there when it talks about before Tesla worked, before all of his stuff worked, Elon went flat broke. He was literally going to friends and begging and borrowing, $1 million here, $1 million here. Now, granted, he had those connections that helped tremendously, but he was playing with money that and asking for money from friends and stuff that he knew there was a chance he'd never be able to pay back. But he had enough faith in himself that he was gonna make it work. And that's a lot of it. I mean, it's like when I sit across from somebody and we talk about our masterminds, our courses, our networking groups that we have, all the things that we offer small business owners to really scale and grow. And then they look at you and they're like, man, I just don't know if I can invest that kind of money. And, one, it's always my fault because I haven't put enough in there to earn the trust that I'm the guy that can get them where they want to go. Right. I don't ever believe that there's a bad prospect in a marketplace. Right. And I don't believe there's always a win for both parties. I mean, you've got to go into every conversation believing that this is going to come with a good outcome for both parties. But when I can feel that an individual is just not willing to invest in themselves, it cringes at my soul because I know the only reasons or one of the biggest reasons I've gotten where I've gotten is because I've spent money that I didn't always have to go bigger than I currently am. Because there are people that know a shit ton more than me that have scaled a lot bigger than me. And, sometimes you got to throw money at it to be able to get the introduction to get where you want to go. And fuck yes, it's scary, you know, but it more often than not works. And if it doesn't work, take ownership of it, that most likely you didn't do your due diligence. Right. I just believe that if it works, it's my fault. If it doesn't work, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Because as an employee, it's always easy to pass the buck to somebody else. You can always say things like the economy sucks or too much competition or, a plethora of freaking excuses. When you're a business owner, there is no excuse. There's no one left to blame. It's on you. And you've got to act accordingly. And
So,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So how do you brand yourself so that people know, like, and trust you, and you're able to deliver that value and you're able to network without being like that shitty guy that's just
I
hitting somebody
fucking
up for
love
the
this
sale?
question. Great, beautiful question. All right. Here's the thing. Advertising is what you say you do. Branding is what everybody else says you do. So whether people believe it or not, you have a brand in the marketplace. Whether it's a company brand, personal brand, I don't give a shit. You have somebody is telling the story of you to other people. Our job is to help control what story they're telling. And the only way we can do that in this day and age is by going big and fucking loud. And what I mean is, there's never been a cooler time in the world to start a business with nothing more than a freaking cell phone. It just blows me away, because it's social content is the name of the game right now.
Yep.
And literally, how you get people coming to you versus you having to go to them is you start putting out a massive amount of content that tells the right story. There's a reason I love being interviewed on podcasts. There's a reason I love being published in articles. There's a reason we put out so much content. There's a reason I'm on fucking TikTok of all places. It's because I want to get the stories out there. My success is because I know that by telling my fuck ups, my failures, my screw ups, somebody else is going to learn from that and hopefully don't get hit as hard as I did. I don't want to lessen the blows per se, but I want them to understand that by going through that shit, it's going to be okay. It's going to work eventually. Just don't know which fuck up you got to go through before it breaks loose. So it's about getting out there on all the platforms, going live, putting out content, and just not giving a shit what anybody thinks.
So how did you become such a good storyteller? Was that a skill
Lots
you
of
developed?
it's a lot of repetition. If people go back and they were to literally listen to some of my first interviews I ever did, they were a buddy of mine, Sean Douglas, I remember doing his podcast 2.5 years ago, and I go back and I listen to it every once in a while, and it's because you can hear that I didn't have my story all put together. You could hear that it wasn't as quick scripted as it should be. So it's taken, I don't know how many podcasts I've been on, but it's been a ton. I don't know how many, YouTubes or lives I've been interviewed on, but it's a ton. I've also interviewed a ton of people and interlaced my story in part of that interview. So it's just like anything. It's repetition, 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 and you get good at it. What people should really look for is the opportunities to go tell their story, and then look for the moments that you see people go, oh, that's the portion of the story you got to remember to tell next time. And then it's collecting those series. So when you do tell your story, that you're hitting those highlights every time. Like usually when I tell my story out the gate, one of the things that I know, and I'll just say it like I always do, that gets a great dramatic pause, is I was a partner in a large sales training company. I was in the process of doing a huge buyout, 7-figure deal over 5 years, right? It was going to be a massive game changer. I thought this was going to be the direction for the rest of my life. Me and my business partner at the time had gone out to celebrate all of our successes. We were just starting this whole negotiation to do this buyout, and we were having cocktails. It was a great night. And he looks at me and he says a phrase that forever changes the trajectory of my life. And he says, Donnie, I'm so grateful you're my retirement plan. And then I looked at him, and I believe in a moment I said, it's been my honor. I've loved doing it. It's amazing. It's awesome. But when I got to my truck, I got pissed because I was literally somebody else's retirement plan. Now, that's all true. And I said it just like I would on a podcast. But I was on stage when somebody asked me, in particular, they said, Donnie, what was the moment you realized you needed to start a business? And that was the first time I told that particular story. And it just came off the cuff, and I walked through, and the whole crowd, just like your face did, the whole crowd went, oh, I can't believe he said that. And I love telling people, I still love the guy. I still talk to him. We're still great friends. And he really genuinely meant he was grateful for what I'd done. He meant no harm by it. But it just led me to that point. But it's remembering those moments of your story that hit when you're telling others that really, really makes for a great storytelling. And that's just how I've gotten good with it.
So how do you, you're really good at storytelling, but you're also like really good at sales. How do you marry the two? Because I happen to just completely suck at sales. Like I'm really good at the back end and teaching people and things like that, but sales,
I want to prove something, all right? Because nobody sucks at sales. I'm just going to prove something really, really quick.
Okay.
If I can get you into a conversation to sit across from somebody that is interested in what you do, what's the chance of you closing that deal?
Oh, probably 100%.
Right. Nobody sucks at sales. They suck at prospecting. They suck at business development.
Yeah.
They suck at getting people to raise their fucking hand to have a conversation. Anybody, you'll hear them say, if I can just get in front of them, I can close it. No shit. Anybody can. It's not the sales you suck at. It's all the things that lead up to the sales conversation. So don't focus on the sales so much. Focus on getting to the sale. So for me, I got really good at sales because I just didn't give a shit what anybody thought about me, which is the number one thing I think people need to learn. Is the only reason you can't get to a sales call is because you're really concerned about what that person sitting across you thinks of you. And the funny thing is they're not thinking about you because they're too worried about thinking about what you may think about them. So as soon as you learn to turn off that mechanism, you can go have some real conversations and then be your fucking self. Be raw, authentic, and then tell your story while asking great questions, and magic happens. See, what happens is most people, because they're so nervous about this whole sales conversation thing, that they go into it and they're like, let me tell you, blah. And then they freaking verbally vomit all their shit all over them. And it freaks the person out. They feel like they're being sold. Conversation's over. Nothing happens. When the real answer is, so I'll go for perspective. I get so many people that send messages to me on LinkedIn, right? They're constantly reaching out to me, trying to get on a podcast or have conversations. It's really simple. I have one move anytime somebody reaches out to me. And it's simply this: they'll connect. I'll connect. I'll say, hey, thanks, Michelle, for the connection. Tell me your story. And I can almost 100% of the time understand where that person's coming from by how they respond. If they are genuinely trying to make a connection, they tell me their story, how they got through the things they go through. They're trying to fucking sell me something. They immediately go towards, well, I do this, this, and this. Right? So it's the people that take a moment to understand where the questions are coming from, respond in kind by using their story, that really makes some cool things happen. So when people ask me, hey, Donnie, what do you do? I help small business owners get to freedom. And I do that through ongoing classes, coaching, and training. I do that by creating virtual networking groups that allows like-minded people to get together, come together once a week, do referrals and networking so they can grow and scale their businesses. And I do it by going big and loud on podcast stages, this, that, and the other. Is that what you were asking? And it's that move at the end. Is that what you were asking? That turns that conversation into a conversation. What most people will do is tell their story and forget to pass the light or the ball back to the other person to get them talking, because they only want to hear their own voice.
That's so true. And that makes it like so much less, I don't want to use the word scary, but like icky, right?
Yes.
Because the reason that I feel like I, is because I want to be known as somebody who helps people, not somebody who's the icky guy that's trying to get a sale, right? And so my problem is I just give everything away.
And the reason
but
you're going to get me to coach you here in a second if you keep that up.
Ooh, all right.
So, but let's talk about that just really quick, because the reason that people give everything away is it's one of two things. And I'm not saying this is on you, because this is not a full coaching session. If it was a coaching session, I'd go brutal on you right now. But but it's one or two things. Either one, you're scared of who you'll become if you find success. And what I mean by that is, growing up, I had two patriarchs in my family, my Uncle Brian and my grandfather. These guys, the only people I knew that had money in this entire world. They were both complete dicks. Right? Just assholes. So I always associated with success meant you had to be an asshole. So I always avoided it. I always avoided going big because I thought you'd have to become an asshole, until I met a couple of guys that were worth way more money than they were. And were just the sweetest, generous, and most awesome people. And it changed my mind shift. Okay. So it's either you're scared of who you become, or you're scared of success in general. Because here's the truth. The only reason people give their stuff away is because they don't think they can handle if it all broke loose. If it all went big and all of a sudden all these deals came in, all these projects came in, what would happen? So they turn it off because mentally they're already at capacity. They don't think they can take on more, so they self-sabotage to stay right here in this game. That's what I'm talking about to people in general about getting out of their own way, is that's the moment you got to ask. See, most people are selling shit they can't afford themselves. Right? So if they go look at the things that they're selling, if somebody asked them to buy it, they couldn't afford it. So when somebody else that sits across from them and goes, man, that's a lot of money, they immediately go, yeah, it is. And they go, I don't know if I can afford it. You know what? Let me just give it to you. And it's because you're responding with your own thoughts. When if you understand that the more you sell, the more you can impact and change the world and do more badass and awesome things. When you don't sell, you're actually lowering your own self-value and self-worth, not to anybody else but yourself. You're literally saying, I'm not worth this. And it's your own beliefs coming out at that moment saying, I'm not good enough for this. Flip that script and go, man, when this person gets the results that I know that they can get with what I do, I can then go do this thing that allows me to get more and do more for others. Because it's
That's so true. That's yeah.
we spend more time listening to ourselves versus talking to ourselves. And when we listen to ourselves, they become stories that we start fulfilling when we should be talking to ourselves. And I always love the perspective of, imagine a baseball player in Major League Baseball that bats 300. I'm not a sports guy, but I love this analogy. If they're bat 300, that means out of 10 times of up at the plate, they'll get on base 3 times out of 10. That's batting 300. This is the best of the best. So you think when that guy walks up to the plate and he's getting ready to go against one of the best pitchers in the world, he's going, oh God, don't let this be one of the 7. Fuck no, that dude's walking up there and saying, watch this. This is going to be one of the 3. I'm going to crush this dude. I'm going to freaking smash the hell out of this thing and go. And if he strikes out, pops out, whatever, next time he walks up to bat, he's like, yep, hold my beer and watch this shit. I'm going to crush this thing. They never go up there thinking they're going to strike out. They're thinking they're going to lose. But they know it's going to happen. Right? It's the same thing in everything we do in life. How we talk to ourselves is how we act and become. And you can get me on soapboxes forever if you don't be careful.
No, I love it because this is like, I'm so happy we're recording right now. I gotta be honest. So like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I got to go back and listen to this again. And then the third or fourth time, I'll be like, yes, because you say it, it's mind blowing, and then you listen to it again, and you're like, okay, I can believe that. And then you listen to it a third time, and you're like, I got this. And then the fourth time, you're like, oh yeah,
There it is.
there it is.
Absolutely.
So, all right. I ask this question on every podcast. What was the most aspiring thing that has happened to you in your business?
That's a great question. There's been a bunch of things, but I think probably some of the coolest stuff that I've really enjoyed is like my nieces coming up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, I saw you on Spotify," or I saw you in that YouTube video, that interview. Those type of things have been cool because I know those 3 girls, well, 5 girls altogether, and my nephew. Like one of my nieces called me the other day and she's like, I was flipping through Spotify and I saw you on a podcast. She's like, I listened to the whole thing, and she goes, it was just so cool. And for me, that kind of stuff, and it's not the accolades, I'm putting out some sort of content that people are consuming and loving. That's everything to me, because especially in the time we're in right now, I know that I'm one of those guys that when I speak, people usually listen. And I have the ability to control a room, control an audience, and people tune into what I say. So I take it personally as my responsibility right now that I've got to be one of the voices out there bringing encouragement, bringing an uplifting spirits. I carry that as my burden. It's not even a burden. I enjoy doing it, but that's my responsibility to constantly do that. So when I hear things like from one of my own nieces that they actually listened to a whole thing that I was being interviewed on, and this is what their takeaway, that kind of stuff is fucking killer, because I know if I can hit a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, or a 9-year-old, that type of thing,
When you're
then
just Uncle Donnie.
yep,
Yeah.
then other people are freaking getting it. That's to me is everything. I love that. And listen, nobody who gets on stages, podcasts, and everything else, we all got a little bit of ego. So it's really cool when somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I read your book, and let me tell you, complete game changer." One of the coolest reviews I got on Amazon was a gal said, "For the first time in my life, my husband and I read your entire book in one day, cover to cover, and your section on networking and sales completely blew our mind down to I just could not believe how your philosophy changed everything we're doing in our business." And that kind of stuff is the stuff that I love, because I grew up in an era of hype guys, that I'm a loud guy. I get that. But these guys, were, let's close the deal. Let's punch everybody in the face and get every deal done. And that's a world I grew up in. And that's not sales anymore. Right? Sales is just a conversation, and that's always going to be my philosophy. And I love, getting compared to those guys, but saying I put a different message in the marketplace, and that just kind of stuff I just geek out on. So that's a lot of it, is knowing that my message, my tools, my things are actively impacting and changing lives. That's what I geek out on.
So I actually bought your book last night,
Oh.
and so as soon as it gets here, I can't wait to dive into it. So tell everybody about the book you wrote.
Yeah, it's called How to Be a Success Champion. And a couple of things that I wanted to do with the book. I wanted to use my story. I, I'm I don't know a whole lot of people that are willing to share their failures like I have. So I wanted to take the people through how I destroyed my company and then rebuilt it, and then teach everything that I've learned over 20 years of sales all in one. So it's written so people can, you know, from the beginning, recognize where they are in life, recognize where they are in business, and then use the book as a guide to get where they want to go. I mean, you do not have to consume it cover to cover. Everybody has so far that's read it and left a review. They've gone cover to cover because it's an easy read. I really wanted to be. I'm not a writer. I suck at writing. It's not one of my strengths. So all in, I literally recorded this book audibly, had it transcribed, had an editor come in and clean it all up. So, I mean, it's I don't know, 40,000 words in there. There's no way in hell I could write 40,000 words. I'm just not, that's not my skill set. But part of life is knowing your strengths, right? And what's not a strength, get somebody else to do. And, so a lot of people now, they use the book as intended. They need help with sales. They go back and read the sales chapter. They need help with mindset. They go back to read the mindset. They need help with networking. They go read the networking section. Everything in there is set up to whatever you need to work on, you can go back and reference and use it in your life moving forward. And it's the whole thing's been a cool process. I mean, when that thing first came to my house and I'm holding my own book, I was like, holy shit, you're a published freaking author. And then it went #1 new release on Amazon, and it blew up some. It was just cool. I mean, because you always, like I said earlier, you always hope that the message and words you put out there hit. You always hope that it impacts and changes somebody's life. So it's been a cool experience. So yeah, how to be a success champion out there in Amazon. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. So we're getting close to time, but can I ask one more question?
Sure, bring it.
Awesome. So usually 98% of the time I wake up every morning and I'm like, let's get this, right? I'm ready to grab the tiger by the tail and, I am excited about what I do. But every once in a while I wake up and I'm like, man, I am freaking tired. And it would be really nice to just quit. And why am I doing this to myself? Which doesn't happen a lot, but I know I'm not the only one that thinks this. So, what would you say? What do you say to yourself on those mornings when you wake up and you're like, man, it would be so easy to just not be an entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, congratulations on being human, because we all do this. So we own a farm, and every Thursday afternoon, right around this time, I go home and work on the farm. Me and the wife, that's our agreement, that I'm home on Thursdays. Well, on Thursdays, she's completely off work. So every Thursday morning, I got two choices to make. I can go run a business, or I can stay nice and cuddled up next to the wife under a warm blanket. Okay. Right. That's real. That's real. So the trick is, the people who find more success are the people that still get up anyways, put their shoes on, get to their office, wherever that may be. And that may just be down the hallway, right? Wherever it is, and get to work. Life is not about big and crazy actions that will help you find success. But the fastest route to success anywhere is consistent actions done on a regular basis. It's the people that are willing to do the shit that others don't want to do, even when they don't feel like doing it, that good shit happens. Because you're constantly you're doing the reach outs, you're doing the content, you're putting out a message, you're inspiring others, you're doing whatever it is your business does consistently, regularly, and you go, and you're not letting yourself squirrel out. And if anybody's seen the movie Up, that's what I mean by squirreling out. It's the damn dog that goes squirrel. But that's it. It's consistent action. Yeah, but it talked about for the longest time in the motivational circles, this massive action. No, fuck massive action. Consistent action. It's consistently doing the right things that will grow and scale your business over an elongated period of time, and doing it again and again and again and again.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so inspiring to know that A, you're not alone, and B, even on days when you don't feel like it, if you just get in there and take those small steps and keep doing consistency, that, you're going to get there. I could talk to you all day, but we have to be very respectful of your time. And I know you have another appointment coming up. So Donnie, thank you so much for all the, complete knowledge bombs that you just dropped on us. And, I know you don't have a whole lot of time, so I really appreciate you giving us some of it.
Yeah. Can I give your audience a gift?
Yeah.
So I love doing this. So I talk to everybody that, you've got to put out a ton of social content. Right now, social media is the game. And people often ask me, how we're able to put out so much social content. So I run a private Facebook group that I do a lot of training and coaching in. Well, one of the sessions I did in that group was I taught them how to create endless content. So I walked them step by step how to take one piece of content and turn it into a whole bunch of stuff using nothing but free tools. So for your audience, have that entire training that I will gift them for absolutely free. Only thing they got to do is send me a text. If they'll send me the words, "I am a success champion," to 817-318-6030.
Wait, 817.
318-6030.
Okay.
Send the words, "I am a success champion." I will send them back. It's going to ask for their email so we know where to send it. I will send them back that video, and it's about an hour-long training of me walking people through step by step by step by step on how to create endless content, and you'll never struggle with making social content again.
That is awesome. Holy crap. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
you're welcome.
Guys, I want to give you Donnie's website, and I know it's going to be in the show notes, but his website is DonnieBoivin.com, but I'm going to spell it for you because it's not spelled the way that it sounds.
Yeah, me and Gary Vaynerchuk have the same problem. Nobody can spell our last name, so.
Right. So it's B as in boy, O as in ostrich, I as in iguana, V as in Victor, I as in iguana, N as in Nancy.com. So DonnieBoivin.com.
And Donnie spelled with I-E.
Oh, yes. Thank you. It'll be in the show notes. So thank you so very much. And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you, Michelle. This has been awesome. And guys, one last thing. Do me one big favor for her. So if you got any value out of this show, if you got any nuggets, you got any greatness out of the show, do me a favor and teach somebody else how to listen to her show. There's a lot of podcasts in the marketplace, and people still don't always know how to tune into podcasts. So, like I said, if you got any value, literally go tell another friend about it. Grab their phone, put her podcast on their phone so they can tune in and listen to it. That, I promise you, will be the greatest thing you can do for her and say, this is how much I love what you do. Help her out, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in to the Automate to Dominate podcast at www.awesomeoutsourcing.com/podcast. My name is Michelle Thompson. Hey guys, if you absolutely love this show, I would greatly appreciate it if you would head on over to iTunes, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star written review. That would be amazing. And as always, if you guys know somebody who should be listening to this podcast, please don't keep it all to yourself. Share it with your friends.